Before cities, farms, kings, or taxes, humans were just trying not to freeze. Every night, fire meant safety, warmth, cooked food, and one tiny problem: it smelled delicious. And in that darkness, something with sharp ears, sharper teeth, and excellent timing noticed. A wolf sniffed the air like nature's most dangerous food critic. To humans, wolves were not cute pets. They were clever predators, competitors, and possibly tonight's worst surprise. These animals could run, hunt, cooperate, and make terrible decisions for anything made of meat. Now smash cut thousands of years later. Tiny dog. Sweater. Zero shame. Somehow, the ancient wolf became the creature that now steals socks and pretends it helped. That transformation is not just adorable. It may be one of history's strangest alliances. Two social predators, both hungry, both intelligent, both extremely interested in what happened around the fire. Ancient humans did not look at wolves and say, "Ah, yes, fluffy roommate." But some wolves discovered a powerful survival hack. Human camps produced leftovers, smells, warmth, and predictable activity. The wolves that got too aggressive probably received immediate Stone Age customer service, shouting and spears. But the calmer wolves, the ones that waited, watched, and did not cause chaos, had a chance. Generation after generation, that tiny difference mattered. Less fear meant more food. More food meant more pups. More pups meant a population slowly changing. So, the first chapter of dog history may have begun with a hungry wolf at the edge of firelight, choosing not to run away. Now let's roast the most popular myth about how humans created dogs. You know the story. One lonely caveman finds a cute wolf puppy and invents friendship. The tribe sees it and immediately files a complaint with the survival department. Cute? Absolutely. Scientific? Please place that myth in timeout. Because taming one animal is not the same thing as domesticating an entire species. A tame wolf may trust one human, but genetically, it is still a wolf. Domestication means a population changes over many generations, not one dramatic puppy rescue. Also, imagine doing this during the Ice Age, while hungry, freezing, and carrying stone tools. Your big plan is raising a predator that soon needs meat, patience, and insurance. Ancient humans were clever. They were not running a prehistoric petting zoo. A stronger idea is this. Some wolves made the first move by exploiting human leftovers. The least fearful wolves could creep closer, grab scraps, and survive another brutal night. The loud, reckless wolves got chased away before they could enjoy the buffet. But calmer wolves returned again and again. Over time, their pups inherited more of that useful tolerance. That is why many researchers talk about self-domestication, wolves adapting to the human niche first. Humans did not instantly create dogs. At first, they probably tolerated the wolves that behaved. So, yes, dogs may have begun with friendship, but also with leftovers. Mostly leftovers. To understand dog origins, stop imagining one magical moment. Imagine repeated Ice Age camp life. Humans cooked food, cracked bones, scraped hides, moved tools, and made smoke visible from far away. And near the edge of camp, leftovers quietly became prehistoric advertising. For a wolf, that smell was dangerous, confusing, and deeply interesting, like a buffet guarded by weird apes. The boldest wolves followed the scent trails, stepping closer through snow, shadow, and terrible survival math. If a wolf rushed in aggressively, humans had fire, tools, teamwork, and loud opinions. But a wolf that waited outside the danger zone could return after humans slept or moved away. That wolf might grab scraps, save energy, and survive one more freezing night. This created a filter: panic, attack, and chaos lost. Caution and tolerance sometimes won. The camp was not just a place. It was a new ecological niche glowing in the cold. Basically, humans accidentally opened the world's worst managed prehistoric restaurant. And because camps appeared again and again, wolves could learn the pattern again and again. A wolf that learned this pattern had better odds. Its pups might inherit the same lower fear. Humans watch the wolves. Wolves watch the humans. Nobody fully trusted anybody yet. But every safe meal taught a lesson. Stay calm, keep distance, avoid the shouting apes. Natural selection was quietly keeping score, like the universe's coldest talent show judge. Over time, some canids were no longer just visitors. They were becoming camp neighbors. And that sets up the next rule: survival of the friendliest. Near humans, survival was not always about having the biggest teeth or loudest growl. A wolf that charged into camp was not brave. It was applying for trouble. But a wolf that stayed back, watched carefully, and waited had better odds. That calm wolf could sneak a meal after the humans left, without starting prehistoric drama. Friendliness here does not mean wearing a bow tie and saying please. It meant lower fear, lower aggression, and the ability to stay near humans without panic. In a freezing world, one extra meal could mean surviving long enough to reproduce. And if those calmer wolves had pups, some pups could inherit the same useful tolerance. Humans noticed too. The calm animals were less dangerous, and sometimes surprisingly useful. A canid could hear movement in the darkness before humans saw anything at all. Humans had fire, tools, and planning. Wolves had noses, ears, speed, and excellent night shift energy. Generation by generation, the invisible friendliness meter slowly moved upward. Humans reinforced the pattern by rejecting dangerous animals and tolerating the ones that behaved. So, natural selection and human preference began mixing, like two messy arrows pointing forward. This was not yet modern pet ownership. No leash, no bowl, no birthday party. It was more like, congratulations, furry stranger, you are now night security intern. The safest canids could come closer, even near families, without triggering panic. Before the body changed much, behavior changed first. And that opened the path to proto-dogs. So, when did a wolf officially become a dog? Nature forgot to print labels. There was no single birthday party where every wolf suddenly received a dog certificate. The change was gradual, blurry, and extremely annoying for archaeologists. Ancient canid bones can be hard to classify, especially when time leaves researchers with fragments. A shorter snout, different teeth, or smaller body can matter, but evidence is messy. But the big idea is simple. Behavior probably changed before the body did. A wolf could still look wolf-like, while becoming less reactive, less fearful, and more tolerant of humans. That tolerance allowed closer contact, and closer contact gave humans more chances to choose. The calm ones got tolerated. The chaotic ones got voted off the Ice Age island. Across many generations, that pressure could shape stress responses, social signals, reproduction, and eventually appearance. Over time, softer faces, shorter snouts, and more juvenile features could become more common. Not modern breeds yet, more like practical, athletic, socially tuned camp partners. No huskies with branded sleds. No bulldogs snoring like engines. And definitely no judgmental poodles. The evolutionary chart still did not end with a chihuahua. Early dogs were probably useful because they moved, sensed, and reacted differently around humans. And once humans could safely share space with them, usefulness and affection began reinforcing each other. That is why bones matter, but DNA has become a major plot twist. The proto-dog had arrived. Now humans would start choosing teammates. At some point, humans were no longer just tolerating camp canids. They were choosing, not with breeding manuals, spreadsheets, or tiny Stone Age Kennel Club registration forms. But every scrap given to a calm animal was a tiny vote for that behavior. Every dangerous animal kept away from the camp was another vote against chaos with teeth. A canid that noticed danger early could turn into a living alarm system. A canid that followed hunters without causing trouble became even more valuable. Its nose could read the snow like a secret map humans could barely see. Near camp, the same animal could guard scraps, stored tools, sleeping people, and everyone's fragile nerves. If it stayed calm near children, that was not cute. That was revolutionary. The elder hunter probably did not say, "Good boy." But the nod mattered. Humans likely favored alertness, calmness, cooperation, memory, and the ability to read signals. No official breeding program was required. Repeated preference can become selection all by itself. Across generations, the animals best suited to human life had more chances to survive and reproduce. Visualize the job listing. Alert, cooperative, good nose, must not eat coworkers. The useful animal got food and protection. The humans got warning, tracking, and help. Useful became familiar. Familiar became trusted. And trusted slowly became something like ours. That tiny word, ours, transformed a camp neighbor into a teammate. But how do we prove this happened? Time to dig. Now we enter archaeology, where dog history becomes a prehistoric detective case with missing pages. The problem is simple. Ancient bones do not always arrive with helpful little name tags. Is it a wolf? A dog? A weird wolf? Congratulations. Welcome to Academic Arguments. Researchers compare snout length, tooth shape, skull proportions, body size, and context around the discovery. But early dogs could look extremely wolf-like, which makes the evidence annoyingly slippery. So archaeologists do not just ask what the bones are, they ask where they were. That brings us to one famous case, the Bonn Oberkassel dog from Germany. A re-examination dated the remains to about 14,223 years old. It was associated with humans and grave goods, which already makes the discovery unusual. Researchers also reported oral lesions, suggesting the young dog may have survived serious illness. If humans helped it live, that hints at care beyond simple usefulness. That matters because domestication was not only about hunting, guarding, and practical Ice Age economics. Of course, scientists argue carefully, because one site cannot explain the entire dog origin story. That is why researchers compare many sites across Europe, Anatolia, Siberia, and beyond. Bones tell one part of the story, but ancient DNA can reveal relationships bones cannot show. Newer evidence points to even older dogs in places like Panarbisha. And another important clue appears far away at Gough's Cave in Britain. Next comes the genetic plot twist, and it gets messy. Now comes the genetic plot twist. Dog history is not a neat family tree. It is more like spaghetti, except the spaghetti has paws and argues with maps. Modern wolves are not living time machines. They are cousins, not direct snapshots of the first dog ancestor. That is why ancient DNA matters. It lets scientists compare dogs with wolves from the past. The map stretches across Eurasia, from Western Europe to Anatolia, Siberia, and beyond. Recent genomic evidence includes canid remains from Pınarbaşı in Turkey, around 15,800 years ago. Another key sample comes from Gough's Cave in the UK, around 14,300 years ago. These clues suggest dogs were already widely distributed across Western Eurasia in the late Ice Age. A major study found dogs overall closer to ancient Eastern Eurasian wolves than Western Eurasian wolves. Then, Near Eastern and African dogs showed ancestry from another wolf-related population. Because of course they did. So was there one domestication event, two events, or one event plus later mixing? Debate unlocked. The dog family tree is less like a ladder and more like a leash tangled around a scientist. Ancient dogs and wolves could also mix, swapping genes after domestication began. As humans moved, traded, hunted, and met other groups, dogs could move with them. The honest answer is not boring. It is better. We still do not know exactly where dogs began, but we know this. By then, dogs mattered. Next, we ask what dogs actually did for humans. Once dogs became dogs, they were not decoration. They were technology with fur. A dog could hear danger before humans noticed anything moving beyond the trees. One bark, one growl, one raised ear, and the whole camp paid attention. Its nose could follow scent trails invisible to humans, turning snow and dirt into readable information. On hunts, that meant better tracking, better awareness, and fewer humans wandering around clueless. Back at camp, dogs could guard food, tools, sleeping families, and everyone's sanity. A canid near the perimeter made the camp harder to surprise, which is basically ancient security software. In freezing places, a warm animal beside the fire was not luxury. It was survival. Later, dogs would collect even more job titles: puller, herder, guardian, tracker, companion. Humans offered food, warmth, protection, and structure. Dogs offered senses humans simply did not have. But the relationship was probably not only practical. Social animals have a dangerous talent: bonding. A child could laugh near a trusted dog, and the camp would remember. An elder could see the same animal return night after night, useful, familiar, almost family. That is why careful burials and special treatment matter so much to researchers. Dogs became a bridge between nature and culture. Once wolf-like, now part of human society. And somehow, this ancient survival partner eventually became the sock thief in your living room. But behind the joke is something huge. Two species changed together. Now, only one question remains. What mystery still wags behind all this? So, how did ancient humans actually create dogs? The honest answer is beautifully messy. There was probably no single heroic moment, no caveman genius shouting, "Behold, dog version 1." Instead, thousands of tiny choices pushed wolf-like canids toward a new life. A scrap given here. A calm animal tolerated there. A useful warning remembered the next morning. Dangerous animals were pushed away. Calm, useful animals got another chance near the fire. But remember, the wolves shaped the story too. They approached, adapted, and exploited the human niche. The first step may have been a wolf, deciding humans were terrifying but profitable. Over time, that risky contact became tolerance, then teamwork, then a partnership, unlike anything else. Science still has mysteries. The exact place, timing, and wolf population remain debated. By the late Ice Age, evidence shows dog-like canids were already spread across parts of western Eurasia. But the family tree still looks less like a ladder and more like spaghetti with paws. Still, the result is clear. Humans gained a partner, not just an animal. And dogs gained a new world. Firelight, food, travel, protection, and eventually a place in human memory. Which brings us, naturally, to the modern dog stealing your sock with ancient confidence. Look into that guilty face, and remember, its ancestors survived beside Ice Age fires. So, no, humans did not simply tame one wolf and accidentally invent dogs overnight. They built a relationship through fear, food, trust, selection, movement, memory, and time. We did not just create dogs. Dogs helped create us.